Here we are at step 3 in constructing our cover. We have gone ahead and added our duct tape to our cover. If you saw the last video segment, I used some brown duct tape, and I also just wanted to let you know this looks a little different now because I also added another layer on top of that just for decorative purposes. This is a packing tape, so it's not strong enough of its own right, but it is a packing tape that has a design printed on it and a clear section like most packing tape, so whatever I put it down on, like the brown duct tape, that now shows through. So I've added that on top, just if that's a little confusing to you compared to what you saw previously, and it's just a decorative element. So this is a section where if you want to make a book like this, but you really don't like the duct tape look, or maybe you don't have the color that you want, you can always do the duct tape, and then over this section you could add fabric or paper to your liking, or a decorative tape like I have. So, just to let you up on speed there of what was going on with that. So here we are with our cover, and we're ready for our next step where we're actually going to glue our text block into the cover. So at this point, I'm going to move my cover aside for a moment and bring back in my text block. In our text block, our outer page was something similar to my piece of cardstock. So this is the outside section where the stitches, you can see those. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply glue to this whole section here to then be able to glue it into our cover. So to do that, I have, of course, my text block handy. I also have some glue that I want to use for this, and you can use largely any variety of glue, whatever you like. PVA is a glue that is used a lot in bookbinding. It's sort of akin to Elmer's white glue. If you're not familiar with PVA, it is along those lines. This is a paste that I like to use in these kinds of situations. I use PVA for a lot, but I enjoy using the Yes paste for this, just to let you all know what I'm using. And to apply that, I have just an old gift or credit card to scrape that on. I do have my bone folder handy, and anytime that I'm gluing, I always like to have a wet cloth in a bowl or some kind of container, just handy to keep my hands clean, and that helps me keep my book clean. So those are the items that I have nearby, and also there's quite a variety of things, of course, you can use to glue on top of, but a handy trick is to use something similar to an old catalog or a phone book, and in this case that's what I'm using. So I have my gluing surface, and I'm going to start with one side of my page. I'm going to open it up so that none of my other text block pages are underneath it, and lay it down on the surface here to go ahead and apply my glue. And a little glue usually goes a long way. This is more than I'm going to need. I'm just going to put some down there. And in gluing, anytime, if you'll work in kind of a radial pattern from the center out, is always beneficial. Keeps the glue just on the side where you want it to be. And this Yes paste needs to be a pretty thin layer. Just going to make sure that I have the whole area covered all the way to the edges. Nice, smooth, consistent. You can glue right up and over your stitching. So that the whole page is covered. Basically, I'm first working on this section, this half of the book. my edges are covered. Okay, now that I have that like I would like it, I'm going to pick that up. And I'm going to go ahead and just turn the page over in my phone book so that I have a nice clean surface to glue the other side of my book. So again, I'm going to bring that other half of the page up so that it's not touching any of the previous pages. Just have it flat down on the gluing surface. And I'm going to put some paste down on that side. Okay. Okay. Now that that side is finished, I'm gluing that. Okay, so I'm just going to pick my book up, and I'm basically just holding it kind of in a T shape so that those glued pages are up and not being touched. Now I'm going to wipe my hand off there because I have glue on it. I'm going to take my cover, and this is the wrong or the inside of my cover, and you can see some of the duct tape here. So I'm going to take my glued side and I'm going to put that down on the cover. I'm going to line that up so that the spine of my book is running basically just right up and down the duct tape. And then I'm going to let the other pages come over. I have to shift those just slightly. I'm just making sure that everything's lined up on each side. Okay. Once I have that positioned like I like, I'm going to just take my hand and kind of smooth things out. I'm going to come all the way up to the stitched edge, make sure that I'm pressing that down and smoothing everything out. Okay. And then at that point, I'm also going to take my bone folder and use that from the spine edge, the stitched edge, on out. I'm just going to smooth everything. If you do have any glue that creeps out on an edge, you want to go ahead and kind of address that. It's another reason that an actual wet cloth buy is good. Most of the glues that would be using PVA or this paste, if you just gently rub away the glue, then it will dry without, the glue there, without a shine. If you have a lot of glue working its way out, you've over-glued, and you need to maybe have a little bit lighter hand with your glue next time. Okay. When everything is smoothed out, and that is all glued down nicely. Now what I will do at this point is I will take something like some wax paper or freezer paper and put a sheet on this side between the text block and what I just glued, and I'll put a sheet on this side as well, and then I will close it up and I'll put it in the press again. and my press is just the fancy-dancy pile of books on top of it. So just a couple of books that are larger than your book that you're making, and just lay that down and let that press. This is a good time to maybe take a break, go have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and just let that press, maybe even overnight, just to dry and to finish up. And then in our next step, we will move along to actually putting our decorative paper on our cover and finishing off the insides of our book.